There is an easy way to migrate Universal Analytics to GA4 using GTM. So let's create a GTM container from the very beginning and then have a workspace and the associated tags with it. And then head over to Google Analytics, create a brand new Universal Analytics property, come back here and then create a page view tag, create few events tag and start sending the data to Universal Analytics. And then let's try to migrate the tags over to GA4. For the very beginning, let's try to create an account in GTM. So let's set an account name, a container name, and then select the web stream or the platform. Scroll down, click create, accept the terms. Yes. What this will do is it will create a tag manager container for you, which is going to have a workspace. I think you can have 3 workspaces. So we have one default here, and you can add 2 more workspaces. So now let's head over to Google Analytics to create a brand new Universal Analytics property. Even now, Google lets you create an Universal Analytics property, which is really good. So we can actually do a hands-on migration from Universal Analytics to GA4. I logged into Google Analytics. Going to click on admin, and I already an account created and I have a property. I'm not going to touch that. Let's create a new property. Let's name it something like this, and then the advanced option, Universal Analytics properties will start collecting data. All right, so let's turn this on. I need to give my website URL. I can give something like this, and then okay, create both Universal Analytics and GA4. No, I don't want to do that now. Let's create a Universal Analytics property and then hit next. Okay, measure. Okay, let's select something and go forward. Now I see the Google gtag.js script which is available. I can either take this, copy and paste it to my website, or I can make use of a tag manager and then I can actually add the tags via Google Tag Manager. So let's do one thing. Let's head over back to Google Tag Manager, and then we'll take the Google Tag Manager scripts and deploy in the local HTML page which you have created. We are here in Google Tag Manager. Let's head over to a location where we can take the Google Tag Manager code, which is necessary to implement GTM on the page. And I'm going to get on the admin section. You can see install Google Tag Manager. Click on it. Take the code, like 2 parts to the code. One goes into the head, one goes into the body. So I have my HTML page here, which is hosted locally. So I copied the code which needs to go to the head section and copy paste it here. And then there is one more part of the code. Copy this and then paste it over here. So now we have our GTM available on the HTML page. We're going to go to network and then reload the page. So you should see something related to GTM. So we have our GTM code installed on the web page, which is good. Let's now create an Universal Analytics page view tag. So go to variable, click on user defined variable. Just name it something like UA GA3 settings. Now click on the pencil button and then scroll down and click on Google Analytics settings. So now you need to provide a tracking ID. So head back to your Google Analytics account and then copy the tracking ID. Come back to the tag manager, paste it, and then have the cookie domain as auto and do nothing else, and then save this. Okay, so your user defined variable has been created. So you can make use of that, and then you can link this back whenever you create a page view tag or an event tag back to user defined variable. So now head over to tags. So we're going to create our first tag, click new, and then name perhaps would be UA GA. Click on the tag configuration, select Google Analytics Universal Analytics, and then the track type is page view. And now we are going to select the user defined variable which we created previously. So now select this, no overrides. That's it, and then select your trigger. Okay, you want the page view to trigger on all the pages. Select this, add, and then click on save. Now, if you want to see whether the page view tag is working, you can hit the preview button. And now you can copy paste your local server here. Come back, copy paste your local server, click connect. And this will open your local page in a debug mode. Now you can go back to, so it says Universal Analytics tag fired once, right? Which is good. So the page view tag which we added is working. So how many other pages which you have got? If you select all pages and deploy through tag manager, and if your tag manager is available in all the pages, and if you have a page view tag defined, it's going to fire on all the pages. So now if you want, you can open the network tab and then reload the page and then type collect, and you can should be able to see the data going to your, let's scroll down, going to your universal analytics property, right? This is what we created. So this is where data is getting sent to. All right. Let's create a tag for the interactions on the page. So the tag which you already created captures the data pertaining to the users when they load the page. So what if somebody interacts with the page like clicking on a button? In order to capture that, you need to have event tagging available on the page. Let's head over to the local page, and then let's assume that we want to track the click of this button. Um, so you have to go back to your GTM container, click new, and then create an event tag. Let's name this button one. Click on the tag configuration, select Universal Analytics. So last time we selected page view, this time we select event, and then you have to fill in the values for the category, action, and label. So let's give the category name as button, an action name as click, and then the label as home load CTA1. And now select the settings variable which we created previously, and then click on trigger. Now on the trigger, so click on a new trigger, and then let's name it CTA1 trigger. And now click on all elements and select some elements for a specific click, and then select this as click element, and now match a CSS selector, and then copy paste the code from the page which can trigger the button one. So go back to the page, right click, inspect element, right click, copy selector, head over back to tag manager, the trigger configuration, copy paste that. So what we have selected is click element, match a CSS selector, and we have copy paste what we got from the local page. Click on save, again save. Now we want to see whether the implementation on the button is working fine or not. So click on the preview, load your local page or your website, click continue. Now go back to the debug mode. Now click apply home loan UA event 1. Go back to the debug mode. Now you see the button 1 which we just created works fine. I clicked on it and it says the button 1 Universal Analytics event tag as fired 1. Want more details of this, click on it and it will give you the element which you have added, etc. So we have added a page view tag as well as an event tag using Universal Analytics. So far we have not migrated anything to GA4, right? So whatever changes we have done now, let's actually publish it. Add a descriptive name, you can say UAGA and then publish. So now your tags are published. Let's start the GA4 migration process. This is the very first step. So I am in the Universal Analytics property. Now click on GA4 Setup Assistant. Click on Get Started. Create a GA4 property, copy basic settings, turn on enhanced measurement. Okay, click on Create Property. So now your property has been created and you see it has been connected property. Okay, the connected property is GA4328. So this is a property number. So your Universal Analytics property is connected to GA4 property. Now hit the GA4 property button. Now it will take you to the GA4 interface. Now let's scroll down, collect website and app data. Not started, advanced setup. I think the most, let's get into the data stream. So now I have my web stream, right? So click on this. Now I see my stream ID and my measurement ID and enhanced measurement, page views, scrolls, outbound links, site search, video engagement, file downloads, all tracked automatically. And manage site tags. So it says no site tags connected. This is to connect your other Google properties. Okay, so this is the first step. Now let's start adding few codes pertaining to GA4. Click on new and name this GA4 config. Click on tag configuration. Select Google Analytics GA4 configuration. Now you need to get a measurement ID in order for you to send the data to GA4, and you already linked your UA property with GA4. So that means as a dual tagging, and your universal analytics property will keep getting the data as it was receiving, and your Google Analytics 4 property will also start getting data from now on. It's not retrospective. It will not go back and have all of your data which is available in UA into GA4, but it will start collecting from current. Let's get to the GA4 property in Google Analytics. So go to a GA4 property. Now we need to take the measurement ID. So where can we find the measurement ID? Click on data streams, click on only one stream which is available, which is the web stream as of now. Copy the measurement ID, head over to Google Tag Manager, send the page view hit when the configuration loads. Now for the trigger, let's give the trigger as all pages. So you have a measurement ID, and you don't need to do anything now, and then click save. So if you want to see whether your GA4 implementation working fine or not, we can go back and use the debug mode. So you should see two tags which is firing. So one is the universal analytics tag on the page load, one is the universal analytics tag, one is the GA4 tag on the page load. So let's click on preview, load the page again. Now continue. So now you see the UAGA tag getting fired, which was our previous implementation, and the current implementation we have our GA4 config tag firing, which is good. So we have the dual tagging implemented on the page. This is the tag migrator tool to migrate the universal analytics tags to GA4. For this, you should be using Google Tag Manager. So this is a Google spreadsheet which is connected by scripts and API created by a person named Ben Quinn who works for Google. But Google says it's not officially supported. But at the same time, since it is created by a Google employee, and I've seen this working pretty well, at least to get the 30% or 40% of job done for you, and to have all of the structure which you have in Universal Analytics back into one single place where you can see how your page view tags are configured, how your event tags are configured, because most of the time the events triggered on a page is on the higher side. One page may contain 2 or 3 interaction tags, which ultimately powered by event tagging. So if you have hundreds and hundreds of pages on a site, there will be more number of event tags to be migrated from Universal Analytics to Google Analytics 4. So if you use this spreadsheet, this will make your job a little bit easier. So you see here the menu says GTM migration. Click on this, and then this works in a line of order. First, we need to populate our accounts and select the containers, and then the workspace where you have all the tags available. So let's select the GTM account. So this will run a script, and since I have already logged in, I've given my login credentials of use my login credentials of GTM to log into Google spreadsheet. It's going to pull all the data which is stored, all the account names which is stored in Google Tag Manager back here via an API. So it got all the account names pertaining to my login. And now you can select the container and then a workspace. So I have kept all of my uh, tagging inside the cap sandbox, which is getting 5059, and so I'm going to select it. And now I need to pull the container pertaining to the account. So I'm going to run the second one here to pull all of the GTM containers. Let's give it a second. Yeah, it got my container name. So now I need to get my workspace as well. So I will go to the third option here and then bring all of my workspace. Obviously, there is only one workspace for me, even though you can create 3 workspaces under a container. So now it got the container. Now it got the workspace. So I can select the workspace now and go back to GTM. And then I have already done the page view migration by adding a config tab back in GTM, which you saw. So I'm not getting into page view because page view migration is going to be simple because most of the time there will be one page view tag that will be triggered across all of the pages. So if you can add one single page view tag to your GA4 via GTM on how we did it earlier, so that would be more than enough. So event migration is the one which takes majority of the task, and that I would say the 70% of your work on migration goes into the event migration. So now let's select list UA settings variable and go to the event migration tab. So when the script is over, it should pull some information. So you saw it pulled the tracking ID and it got the UAGS settings which we created upfront on our first or second video. And now you select this, use settings tag in migration. Now you go back to the menu and then select the list all UA events, Universal Analytics event. And it's going to fetch all of the events which we have set up in GTM. So now it got me the button one, which we have created here, this one. And now let me go back to the spreadsheet and now I can name this GA4 event tag name. Maybe I will call it button one GA4 and then GA4 event name. Maybe copy paste this and then event. Now config tag GA4 config tag which we created earlier, and now we can click on migrate tag and then go back to GTM menu and then click on list UA event data. It's going to pull all the associated category label action for this event tag. Now we got the button name, which is BTN1, and then it got the event category action label and the values associated with it. Go back to GTM, click on the button tag and click again here. So now you see the category action and label. So head over back to the sheet. So we got all of those parameters and values associated with it. Now we want to migrate this over to GA4. In GA4 does not have a event category, event action or event label. So everything is event, there is no category action or label. So if you want to migrate to GA4, then you have to create event names accordingly. Let's do one thing. Let's copy this here in a different line and copy this over here as well. And let me have the same user property button value And let me change this into snake case. So instead of this, I'm going to put as event category, event action, and event label. Maybe I can also add one more line and say event name. So this time I can say home loan CTA1 GA4. Let's give that one. Now I need to select convert to user property or to parameter. Let's select parameter here, and then let's select corresponding event. Right, so this gets applied only to this row. I'm selecting a parameter corresponding event. Now what this will do is when I run the migration tool, it's going to automatically create the GA4 events. So I don't need to manually go and create in GTM. It will automatically create and push it to GTM tag. All of the codes which you have written, that will be behind the scenes. So you don't need to alter anything over there. So let's go to the event migration and then click on migrate event tags. Let's see if this works. Script is still running. Okay, it's done. Let's head over to Google Tag Manager and then refresh this page. Now, wow, you see the BTN1 GA4, which is a Google Analytics 4 event. It got migrated from the BTN1, which is in Universal Analytics, to GA4 with a naming convention which gave in the spreadsheet. So the event name we gave BTN1 GA4. Event name, tag name is BTN1 GA4, and then the modifications which we did here in terms of getting all the data from GA3 to GA4 should be visible inside this tag. So let me click on this and then click on it. Here again, you see the event category, action, label, and event name. Exactly the same values which you are given here has been migrated over. So if we have hundreds and hundreds of event tags, you definitely have to spend time on this spreadsheet to see whichever makes sense. You don't need to carry over all the category action label, which is there in the Universal Analytics configuration, but you can sit with the client, your stakeholders, to see which one should be shredded, which one should be modified, and which one should be taken as such. So all those decisions can be made in the spreadsheet. Once you have all the decision made, update all of the tagging correctly on this sheet in terms of the text. Then after that, you can click on GTM migration and then again migrate all the tags. One of the things which you can do in order to save all of your workspace intact is that you can create another workspace here and you can run the GTM container on that workspace. You can create a new workspace and then you can select that workspace from the tab number 1 and then you can do all of the changes over there. So this in a way will protect all of your existing tags available in your primary workspace. So then if you feel everything is perfectly fine, then you can shift it over. I think, hold on, let's also check how the data is flowing into GA4. So let me click on preview. I'm in the Google Tag Manager. So it will bring up my local web page in a debug mode. So this is the one. This is the button which we tagged. So I'm going to clear the console, click on here, click on the button. You can see the event name and the other parameters which we define, like event underscore category, action, label, and the event name which we manually set. So this is appearing here. So now whatever you see here, it needs to be carried forward to your GA4 reporting. Let's see in the reporting if the data is coming in. So you can see all of the hits or events that is getting generated on the page is flowing in here. So I clicked on the button. The name of the button is button 1 GA4 event, so that keeps flowing in. So when I refresh the page, and go back to the GA report, see the user engagement, the page view. So these are the automatically collected data. Everything is events, right? So these are automatically collected events that happen on the page. And I go back again and click on this button and come back here, you should see like one hit to the button that gets added into the event. Right, so the click I generated, the data will be flowing in now in the debug mode. So the button 1 GA4 event. So if I want to break it down and see all of the other parameters designed to this click here and then go to the event category. Okay, it's a button, home loan CTA1, event name, whatever I kept here, and along with the other automatically collected variables like page location, page refer, all comes in here. So this is how we validate. So we started with the migrating the tags from GA3 to GA4 when we successfully deployed, and all the credit goes to the Google spreadsheet and Ben Quinn of Google, who discovered this tool, and then he made some iterations so that this tool is getting better and better as the time progresses. So hopefully at some point of time, Google will officially declare to use this methodology. So thank you so much for listening in. Take care. Bye.